Hi everyone, here's some of us heading your way. Tonight's Your News at 9.
A proposed bill banning police chokeholds in the state of Missouri gaining traction in the legislature. I'm Chris Warner with the details.
January is Human Trafficking Prevention Month. I'm Kate Kelly with how the RISE Coalition is doing its part to educate the public on the subject.
More than 70% of COVID vaccinations shipped out so far are sitting in freezers. I'm Matt Finn in Atlanta.
Canadians weather tonight. This is KOAM News at 9 on Fox 14.
The four states' most watched news starts now.
Thank you for joining us tonight. I'm Jordan Aubie. A proposed ban on police chokeholds in Missouri is beginning to gain traction in the legislature. KOAM's Chris Warner spoke with the Joplin Police Department, also Joplin for Justice. Chris has more.
Republican Senator Shamad Dogan is partnering with Missouri Senate Majority Leader Caleb Rowden and Democrats to outlaw police chokeholds. Dola Flake with Joplin for Justice says it's an important step towards equity.
So I do think banning this type of chokehold is very important as a step not only towards better practices, but more equitable practices. We know that these types of chokeholds can not only take lives, but that they are more frequently used on people who come from diverse backgrounds.
For the Joplin Police Department, Captain William Davis says they're a bit ahead of the curve.
When it comes to chokeholds, the Joplin Police Department, that's been a practice that hasn't been in our policy for the better part of 2 decades. The police department specifically has prohibited their use except in certain situations where an officer may face imminent serious physical injury or even death.
However, Flake says since chokeholds can still be used in certain situations, the ban is necessary, and she feels the NAACP demonstrated the serious issues in policing in Missouri in 2017.
I think the travel advisory put forth nationally by the NAACP really speaks measures to the culture and the climate of Missouri. I think that we just have to be aware that there is validity in the concerns that they have and look forward to ways to making it better.
Flake says this isn't a complete fix, but an important step in police reform in the state.
We definitely believe that this is a good move towards equity as well as better practices overall.
In Joplin, Chris Warner, KOAM News.
Doug Eddy's joining us now with our first look at the forecast. It really gets cold once that sun sets. Unbelievable.
Yeah, that's part of winter, Jordan. Middle of January, and it was kind of cold for us today, even though we had the sunshine. 41 for a high. Average high is 44 degrees, but we were cold out there, and we have pretty much clear skies. Winds are light. It's going to be cold for us tonight as our temperatures drop back into the 20s once again. Any clouds we had earlier today are all off toward the east, so we look pretty good. Next storm system building out across the Pacific Northwest, and that will start to affect us by the time we head into Thursday. As of right now, most of us around the freezing mark. Again, we'll drop back into the 20s, 33 by 9, 47 by noon. Quite a bit warmer actually tomorrow as we go all the way up to 53 during the afternoon hours. Of course, we'll look at our next storm system here in just a bit.
Doug, thanks as always. This month, January, of course, is Human Trafficking Prevention Month, and a Joplin nonprofit is doing its part to help spread awareness about this important issue. KOM's Kate Kelly shares how the RISE Coalition is using social media to debunk myths.
Human trafficking is something that takes place across the country, and education plays a vital role in spotting the signs of a victim. That's why the RISE Coalition is debunking myths and offering stats on social media to help inform the public.
I think one of the things that really propelled our medical staff into wanting to be more responsive is understanding that 88% of all survivors of trafficking have at some point in time come in contact with someone in the healthcare field, and yet only 2% of all reports have come from the healthcare sector.
RISE is dedicated to helping people in exploitation situations. Local churches and community members have come together to donate items for go bags to help these victims, usually women, but trafficking often disguises itself.
I think one of the biggest myths is that people assume, okay, human trafficking involves someone going in, kidnapping someone, taking them somewhere, selling them for sex or labor or whatever that is. And that's absolutely a definition of human trafficking, but that is not every case. And that's certainly not the majority of cases that we see here in our community.
Officials say more often, human trafficking begins as a cybercrime where online predators target children or teens. Shade says conspiracy theories and myths distract from the real atrocities of trafficking.
So in the last year, we really found that there was a lot of false information being spread about human trafficking. And that's not just unfortunate, that actually really hurts our efforts and it really hurts victims.
With education and resources, this Joplin nurse believes we can make a difference in our community.
I've seen the desperation in a face turn to hope and then see a life completely transformed when a new way out is given. And that's the incredible ability that I've seen that even a single nurse in our community has.
In Joplin and Oronogo, Kate Kelly, KOAM News.
If you'd like to learn more about the RISE Coalition or find out how you can help human trafficking survivors, check out the links shared in this article on our website, koamnewsnow.com. We won't know until at least next month whether commercial flights are going to resume from the Joplin Airport to Chicago, the Windy City. Those flights ended back in March of last year. Joplin Airport Manager Steve Salcombe says the Department of Transportation will decide next month whether the new airline will provide Joplin service. But Salcombe says even after a decision is made, it could be another 120 days before service begins. Missouri Department of Health and Senior Services is offering a free COVID-19 testing clinic. It'll happen Friday, January 22nd over at Access Family Care in Joplin, 530 South Maiden Lane. Hours are going to be from 9 in the morning till 1 in the afternoon, and the testing is free. All you have to be is a Missouri resident. You can register online at health.mo.gov/community-test. The coronavirus vaccine was offered and approved weeks ago, but 70% of shipments remain in cold storage, waiting to be distributed to an increasingly skeptical public. Fox News correspondent Matt Finn has more now from Atlanta.
As the coronavirus outbreak grinds on, the biggest vaccination project in American history is ramping up. But it's not moving as quickly as planned. 22 million doses have been shipped so far, but only about 7 million Americans have been vaccinated. Doctors say they're seeing a growing reluctance among the public. So a number of states are making the vaccine available to groups other than healthcare workers and the elderly.
What about people with diabetes and heart disease and obesity? They're not yet on the list. We have to broaden this and get as many vaccines out there as possible.
In addition to expanding access, a number of states are also beefing up their distribution. New Jersey Governor Phil Murphy touring a newly opened vaccination mega center on Monday. And across the river in New York, 5 new sites are now open, including several operating 24 hours a day.
We have more and more sites opening up, including our 24/7 sites. And this is very exciting because there's a lot of people ready to get the vaccine literally all hours of the day, and we'll be able to accommodate them.
But this first wave of vaccinations won't come in time to stop a major surge expected to hit in the next week. Holiday gatherings resulting in millions of new cases, and healthcare workers across the country say they're being pushed to the breaking point.
We're seeing patients who are maxed out on oxygen, who are basically just suffering.
And a study released by Pfizer indicates the vaccine is effective against those new COVID-19 strains. We expect to get more data from the company in the coming days. In Atlanta, Georgia, Matt Finn, Fox News.
The U.S. government is rolling out the third installment of its small business loan program today with new safeguards included. This comes after fraudsters botched the rollout last year. Now, instead of automatic approval, applications are going to be initially reviewed, which might slow the process. But officials say the $284 billion allotted are going to meet incoming demand and not run out. IRS is sending some 8 million Americans Visa debit cards loaded with the latest federal stimulus payments. So listen up. The tax agency said it changed the envelopes to make it more transparent that they include the debit cards loaded with $600. Now, last spring, the reason why the government is doing this, last spring, some people threw out their prepaid debit cards because the envelopes were not clearly marked. So don't throw out those envelopes. There's money in there. KOAM News at 9 on Fox 14 takes this time. to honor one of our four-state heroes. Martin Semenuk served in the U.S. Air Force from 1941 to 45. Native of Scammon, Kansas, Semenuk was stationed in Germany, part of a bombing group. He earned 2 Purple Hearts. We are proud to thank Staff Sergeant Martin Semenuk. He is tonight's four-state hero. Doug is up next with a complete look at the forecasts, and a bit later, warnings from both federal and local officials over possible upcoming violence that's ahead of President-elect Biden's inauguration.
Definitely turned out to be a cold day for us today. Temperatures struggling to warm up only into lower 40s for highs, and we had some really thick fog during the morning hours, which you can see on our Indigo Sky Casino and Resort tower cam. Then it burns off. Then it looks pretty good by the time we head into the afternoon hours, as we have mostly sunny skies, and we're going to see mostly clear skies throughout the overnight hours for us tonight. Let's go ahead, zoom in. 31 south winds are going to pick up. That's really going to help our temperatures warm up tomorrow, and it's also not going to allow our temperatures to drop off as far tonight as what we did have during the morning hours. 33 in Pitt, 31 in Seneca, 30 in Miami, Webb at 31. Granby is sitting at 31 degrees. Cassville, much of the same. Parsons, 32. Yates Center, 32. Fort Scott at about 33 degrees. High pressure kind of rolled through today. Now we've had kind of the west, southwesterly winds picking up throughout the evening hours, and these will increase. So kind of windy by the time we head into the daytime hours tomorrow. But clear skies. All the clouds that we had earlier today, these are all gone. In fact, the entire Central Plains look pretty good. We can head out toward the west. Here's our next storm system starting to get going out across the Pacific Northwest. And eventually, this will start to affect us by the time we head into Thursday. Now, ahead of it, we have one little weak wave very close to El Paso, Texas. That's going to slide south, not a big deal. Ridge of high pressure rolls in. That gives us nice weather, not a big deal. Then that next storm system will start to affect us, which is way out across the Pacific Northwest by the time we head into Thursday. At least for us tonight, clear skies, kind of cold as we drop back mid to upper 20s for overnight lows. But Tuesday looks great. We're going to warm up significantly warmer than what we saw today. 27 to start, 47 by noon, and a high temp all the way up to 53 during the afternoon. Those south winds at about 10 to 20. So a little bit on the breezy side. We drop back near 30 tomorrow night, and then as we head into Wednesday, even warmer as we push 60 during the afternoon. So Wednesday looks great. Next storm system rolls in Thursday. Cold front's going to slide in. It doesn't have much moisture with it, but as the front works through, I wouldn't be surprised if we get a few showers, maybe even a few snow showers behind it as we go into Thursday morning. So we'll keep our eyes on that. This is going to kind of usher in some cooler air as we head into Thursday and Friday, and then kind of settle in as we head into the weekend. In fact, numerous storm systems, but they just don't have a lot of moisture. Here's the one on Thursday and Friday. Has a lot of cold air, but it quickly retreats. Next system drops in on Sunday. Also brings us some colder air, but doesn't really have any moisture with it. May get a little rain or snow out of it. And then right behind it again, another storm system by Tuesday will work on through. But I really don't see a bigger system until maybe next Thursday. Then that's when things will start to get rolling as we get quite a bit more moisture in here and some better chances for bigger storm systems. 53 tomorrow, near 60 on Wednesday, 47, a few morning showers or snow showers on Thursday. 42 with some flurries on Friday, a slight chance for rain or snow on Sunday, but we cool down as we head into the weekend.
What a roller coaster there. Again, you're talking about 50s some tomorrow and almost 60 on Wednesday, and then snow.
Yeah, but at least we're going uphill the next couple days.
You got it. Okay, to catch you a little bit. Thanks as always. Coming up, threats of impeachment intensifying.
House Democrats continue their push to remove President Trump from office. I'm Ray Bogan in Washington with a look at what they're trying to do before his term expires in 9 days. Coming up.
9 days remaining until Inauguration Day, and today a trio of House Democrats introduced an impeachment article against President Trump for incitement of insurrection. In it, they accuse President Trump of high crimes and misdemeanors worthy of removal from office. Fox News correspondent Ray Bogan is in D.C. with the latest on that, also the fallout from last week's attack on the Capitol.
House Democrats are making multiple attempts to remove President Trump from office before his term expires in 9 days. They've just introduced an impeachment article which states Donald Trump incited an insurrection and, quote, will remain a threat to national security, democracy, and the Constitution if allowed to remain in office.
We cannot allow that kind of attack on our democracy, an attempted coup d'etat, to occur without consequence.
It comes after they tried to approve a resolution urging Vice President Pence to invoke the 25th Amendment.
To declare President Donald J. Trump incapable of executing the duties of his office and to immediately exercise powers as acting president.
But Republicans shot down the fast-tracked resolution.
I object.
Democrats will try to pass the resolution again tomorrow with a full vote. House Speaker Nancy Pelosi is giving Vice President Pence 24 hours to respond after the resolution passes. Sources tell Fox the vice president is not considering it.
I think the 25th Amendment is a very clumsy tool. We've never used it under these circumstances. We've typically used it when a president goes for a medical procedure. We don't really know how to do it, and it's slow.
The House could vote to impeach President Trump for a second time on Wednesday. In Washington, Ray Bogan, Fox News.
Today, President-elect Biden said he spoke with several House and Senate members this morning after hearing their intentions to move forward with impeachment proceedings. Biden said it's his hope that his cabinet appointments won't be delayed by the impeachment process and that Congress can split its time doing both. Coming up, warnings from FBI and other officials.
A conservative site shut down by Amazon is now suing in federal court. I'm Lauren Blanchard in Washington, plus DC's mayor is telling people to stay away before the inauguration.
FBI warns of plans for armed protests at all 50 state capitals and in Washington in the days leading up to President-elect Biden's inauguration. An internal FBI bulletin warns that the nationwide protests may start later this week. Investigators believe some of the people are members of some extremist groups. Security in D.C. is on high alert following last week's riots, and more restrictions are being put in place now, just 9 days away again from the inauguration. Fox's Lauren Blanchard explains from Washington with more on security crackdowns in D.C. and online.
Ahead of the inauguration, tech giants are pulling the plug on President Trump's social media accounts, some permanently, and shutting down right-leaning social media site Parler until they can find a new host server.
Even if you don't like Donald Trump, that should be concerning that they have that power.
Now Parler is suing Amazon for removing them from their web hosting services, filing on Monday in a Seattle federal court, saying Amazon violated antitrust laws and displayed political animus. In a statement, Amazon said, quote, "We cannot provide services to a customer that is unable to effectively identify and remove content that encourages or incites violence against others." Parler was used in part by rioters to coordinate the attack on the Capitol, and posts have circulated on the site since calling for more violence.
These platforms have to do a much better job of preventing people from using their platforms to organize and execute violence and other harms.
Ahead of January 20th, D.C.'s mayor is asking people not to travel to the nation's capital. She has also asked the Department of Interior to deny or revoke all public gathering permits in the days leading up to the inauguration.
Our goals right now are to encourage Americans to participate virtually and to protect the District of Columbia from a repeat of the violent insurrection.
The chief of the National Guard Bureau says 15,000 troops have been authorized to protect D.C. National Guard troops will focus on supporting security, logistics, and communication. By this weekend, there will be 10,000 troops already in place. In Washington, Lauren Blanchard, Fox News.
Seems even those animals know times have changed, at least for the time being anyway. A visit to Ireland when we come back. Look at the face of this little guy. Look closely. Look how confused he looks. As coronavirus lockdowns continue to be enforced in many parts of the world, people are being forced to stay indoors, causing animals to be more brave and explore. Over in Ireland, a person saw a fox roaming the empty Dublin streets. The little fox was running through a part of town that's normally filled with people, but today, as we're seeing, almost empty. The fox is like, why am I here then, huh? Due to the coronavirus, Dublin remains on what's being called a level 5 restriction as COVID-19 continues to spread across the globe. Again, I looked at that guy's face and look at him. He's like, where is everyone? Animals know. Animals are smart. 30 more minutes, news, weather, and sports coming your way.
Construction has officially started on the new Jasper County Courts building. I'm Zach Dodge with what residents need to know for the next 2 years. Coming up.
Indonesian crews intensify their search for dozens of plane crash victims. I'm Benjamin Hall in London. I've got the details coming up.
$1 million construction project in Joplin that's been more than a year and a half in the making has officially started. KOM's Zach Dodge has a look at the construction on the new Jasper County Courts building and why the 2-year project is going to present a challenge to residents.
Asphalt is being destroyed and removed, marking the beginning of a project that many have been waiting for.
We're excited to get the project started.
Construction for the new Jasper County Courts building in Joplin is underway. The $35 million project will replace the existing courts building with an 80,000 square foot modern facility at 7th and Pearl, something that was approved in April 2019 with the extension of a 1/4-cent sales tax. But what's been the holdup?
There's been a lot of back work done prior to a construction project. I mean, you have to design it, you have to make sure that it meets the needs of the people that are going to be using it and so forth. And now the public is finally seeing the fruits of that labor.
Because of where the building is going, one of the biggest issues that residents will have is with parking. In some cases, they might have to park on the side of the street, a block or two away, and then walk to the courts building from there.
Parking is going to be an issue. The only public parking that will be available will be on public streets or other public parking located in downtown Joplin.
With South Pearl between 6th and 7th streets closed permanently and the court's parking lot being destroyed, it will be that way for the duration of the 2-year project. But it won't be long term, since the old building will be torn down to make room for an 80-stall lot. So with all of the benefits the new building will bring, from more space to tech upgrades, once it's all said and done, T says it'll be worth it.
But at the end of the day, it's going to be a beautiful building and a wonderful civic presence and a boost to the downtown.
In Joplin, Zach Dodge, KOAM News.
The 1/4-cent sales tax extension is also paying for an expansion at the Jasper County Jail and for renovations at the Carthage Courthouse. The court's administrator says renovations at the Carthage Courthouse should wrap up in about 6 months, allowing them to shift some court proceedings back there and alleviate some of the parking problems in Joplin. The Joplin City Council held a work session today to discuss the futures of a couple of local landmarks. The council received the final report on an examination of Ewart Pool. Also, consultants who have been examining Memorial Hall proposed a $25 million renovation plan based on public input.
You know, I've never been part of this is my first go around with studies, and I was overwhelmed on how well they performed and made sure the community got their word heard. So I'm very, very happy with how it went.
Council also discussed proposals for the city's stormwater master plan. Missouri Governor Mike Parson today took the oath of office to officially begin his second term as Missouri's 57th governor. Today's ceremony was held as the state of Missouri fast approaches its bicentennial. Much of the next 4 years of the governor's administration will focus on challenges that arose in the final year of his first term. The governor today highlighted the emphasis he's placing on getting Missourians back to work while still fighting against a disease that continues to spread quickly throughout the state.
Every day we're going to be finding ways to put people back into the workforce. We're going to find creative ways to do that and still be able to maintain fighting this virus and be able to move Missouri forward. We've got a good foundation to start as 2021 gets here.
Last week, the governor said the state had distributed 105,000 COVID-19 vaccines, not including those that had been administered through the Federal Pharmacy Partnership Plan. Missouri ranks 19th in terms of vaccine distribution and is getting 2% of the available vaccine doses nationwide. Major corporations are pressing pause on political donations after the Capitol Hill riots. Citigroup and JP Morgan have both announced they will halt accepting political donations. JP Morgan released a statement saying it will do so for, quote, at least the next 6 months. The financial firms are just two of the major companies who made moves like this. Marriott International and Blue Cross Blue Shield Insurance said they stopped donated to Republican lawmakers who opposed certification of President-elect Joe Biden's victory. The banks did not wish to target one political affiliation, so the decision will halt donations on both sides of the aisle. Well, Staples is trying to buy its competitor again. The office supply chain company says it plans to acquire Office Depot for more than $2 billion. billion. The proposed deal would be the third time Staples has tried to buy Office Depot. The FTC rejected the planned tie-up between the two companies back in 1997, citing anti-competitive behavior. A similar plan was put forth in 2015 and was rejected by the agency in 2016. Staples is calling its latest all-cash offer a, quote, compelling value proposition. Eli Lilly announcing positive findings for its drug in the fight against Alzheimer's. The pharma giant says its investigational antibody therapy slowed cognitive decline by 32% compared to a placebo. The drug meeting a main objective to slow decline in about 18 months. The study involved a sample of 272 patients who had early symptomatic courses of the disease. Indonesian authorities continue their search for victims of a plane crash over the weekend, the search turning into a recovery mission as investigators look into possible causes for this crash. Fox News correspondent Benjamin Hall has more now from London.
Rescue teams recover more human remains off the Indonesian coast Monday as they search for dozens of victims from Saturday's passenger jet crash. More than 60 passengers and crew members are thought to have died when the aircraft plunged into the Java Sea. So far, authorities have identified one of the plane's flight attendants. They are now asking crews to focus the search on the remaining victims.
I asked this well-collaborated joint team to concentrate on finding victims because the victims' families have been waiting.
Indonesian authorities also stepping up their hunt for the jet's cockpit recorders. Divers searched the Java Sea Monday but encountered piles of debris during their trip. An underwater vehicle will be sent in tomorrow to help locate the black boxes.
We are carrying out an intensive effort to search for black boxes, but now the focus will also be searching for victims.
One Indonesian investigator says the debris is scattered in a tight area, meaning the jet may have been intact before hitting the water. The U.S. National Transportation Safety Board, with the help of Boeing, will examine engine records and pilot training as part of the investigation.
We really appreciate all parties doing their best. We can only pray that everything goes smoothly so that the plane and the people inside can be found.
Investigators say they will also look into the plane's condition and bad weather as possible reasons for the crash. In London, Benjamin Hall, Fox News.
Coming up further down the road for vaccine distribution.
The vaccine rollout is off to a rocky start. I'm Jackie Ibanez with a look at why the effort is hitting some snags and how pharmacies are preparing for their crucial role. Straight ahead.
Well, it turned out to be a decent Monday for us today. We did have a lot of fog around during the morning hours, and then we broke out and actually saw mostly sunny skies. You can see this on our Indigo Sky Casino and Resort time lapse for you throughout the daytime hours. So plenty of sunshine by the afternoon, but still kind of chilly as our high temps only into lower 40s for highs. And it's cold, of course, right now. It's 31. It feels like 23. South winds are going to keep our temperatures from bottoming out too far tonight. Humidity is at 79%, but most of us around the metro sitting right around the freezing mark. A little bit cooler Sarcoxy at 29, Fairland at 29, Neosho at 29, 28, and Monette, Iola at 30. Neodesha is sitting at about 32 degrees. We have the westerly, southwesterly winds, which are slowly increasing, and these are going to continue to increase tonight and then into tomorrow. But what that's going to do is actually help our temperatures warm up quite a bit. Clear skies, nothing going on here. Any clouds we had earlier today are gone off toward the east. So our next storm system out across the Pacific Northwest, and this will start to affect us by Thursday. Now ahead of it, we got a little weak wave, southern parts of New Mexico that's going to slide to our south. Not a big deal. We get under a nice big ridge of high pressure. It gives us pretty good weather tomorrow, pretty good weather on Wednesday, and then we'll start to see some changes by the time we head into Thursday. So let's start moving through time. Tonight, pretty much clear skies, temperatures cold again. We drop back into the mid to upper 20s. Plenty of sunshine on Tuesday, a little breezy. Southwesterly winds, but it helps those temps warm up. 27 to start, 47 by noon, high temp of 53. Tomorrow night, not near as cold. We back down near 30 for an overnight low. And then still plenty of sunshine on Wednesday, still kind of breezy, but we push 60 by the time we head into the afternoon, so it looks pretty good. Next storm system, it's going to drop in on Thursday. A cold front's going to slide in across the central plains. Now, it doesn't have much moisture with it, We may get a few random showers, maybe a few snow showers by Thursday morning, but most of the moisture is going to stay to our north as it continues to work through as we work into Thursday afternoon. So let's look at the big picture. Here's our upper level maps. This kind of shows our storm systems. We have the big one that drops in Thursday and Friday, even though it doesn't have much moisture, cools us down. But look how quick these pass on through. Next one works in on Sunday, another weak one on Tuesday. Then we start to see some bigger storm systems late next week, and that's when it starts getting interesting. So if we look at our system breakdown, blue days, colder days, yellow days, warmer days. Next week we have those little systems, Sunday, Monday, and Tuesday, but a bigger system by Thursday. So we'll watch that, but it's the following week, the 25th, 6th, 7th, 8th. That's our chance to get a little bigger winter storm across the region. That's the bigger storm system in the cycle. And then we follow that week up with a pretty good week. You can see we warm up by the first week of February. 53 tomorrow, 59 on Wednesday, cooling down Thursday and Friday, a few rain showers and snow showers, and then staying cool into the weekend.
Again, it's something. Yeah, almost 60 degrees on Wednesday, and you're talking about a winter storm soon. Something.
Yeah, I actually think late January, that's our best shot to get a good winter storm.
Doug Eddy, thank you. Appreciate it.
Yep.
Coming up, reaction after the decision to not file a hate crime charge.
The family of the teen accused of stealing a woman's phone in a New York City hotel reacting and taking aim at the hotel where it happened. I'm Laura Engel in New York. That story coming up.
The family of a teen who was accused of stealing a woman's cell phone says his accuser, Maya Pincento, should have been charged with a hate crime. And in looking for accountability, they're now taking aim at the hotel where the whole confrontation happened. Fox News senior correspondent Laura Engel is in New York with this story.
The attorney and family of Keon Harold Jr., the 14-year-old who was falsely accused of stealing a woman's phone at a Soho hotel, sounding off after his accuser, Maya Pincento, was not charged with a hate crime in the incident.
Racism is what started her crime. Yeah. Racism is what started the assault.
Keon's mother saying Pincento is the symbol of white privilege, with police questioning her son on the scene, but not Pincento, who has had multiple run-ins with the law, including a history of DUIs.
Mia Pincento habitually participates in behaviors that risk people's lives. But as usual, it's white privilege here in America.
Additionally, the group wants everyone involved to be held accountable, and in response are calling for people to boycott 9 hotels in New York, Chicago, and Florida under the same parent company as the Arlo Hotel where the December 26th altercation happened.
We won't pay and we won't stay at any accommodation who doesn't condemn racism on any day.
Pincento made her first court appearance over the weekend. She's facing charges of attempted assault, attempted robbery, grand larceny, and endangering the welfare of a child. While her lawyer says Maya is sorry, reports of her behavior following the incident don't indicate remorse.
I apologize. Can we move on?
Pincento was granted supervised release and is back in California. She's expected back in a Manhattan courtroom on March 29th. In New York, Laura Engel, Fox News.
Back with more news after this. Britain is turning racecourses and stadiums into vaccination centers as it steps up its immunization program against COVID-19. Vaccinations are underway at 7 major hubs across the country, including the famous Epsom Downs racecourse, where a new race against time is underway. Nationwide, they hope to vaccinate 2 million people per week. Around 30,000 people in the UK have passed away from the coronavirus in the last 30 days. London's hospitals are on the verge of being overwhelmed, and England's chief medical officer warns the next few weeks are going to be the worst of this pandemic. Pharmacies, both big name and small, are hoping to give the rocky vaccine rollout, as it's been so far, a much-needed boost in the months ahead. Fox News correspondent Jackie Bondas explains how those companies are preparing for their parts and why logistical issues are getting in the way.
Pharmacies across the country are playing a major role in the vaccine rollout. CVS and Walgreens have partnered with the government to administer vaccines on site at nursing homes and assisted living facilities. But states have run into multiple challenges. Scheduling issues, staffing shortages, and disorganization at the federal level have hampered efforts to get vaccines into arms, leaving some long-term facilities without a single dose.
We were hanging our hopes on the governor's promise that our parents and all the other residents in care facilities, nursing homes, and assisted livings would be first up for the vaccine. And that hasn't happened.
And this is only the beginning of the process. After the most vulnerable groups are vaccinated, pharmacies will then administer shots to the general public in their stores. CVS, Walgreens, and other companies are hiring tens of thousands of employees to help with the massive effort.
There's a toll that it takes on individuals, and we want to make sure that we have reinforcements to help them.
It's not just national chains stepping up to the plate. Small, independent pharmacies will also play a crucial role in getting the vaccine out, especially in rural communities. But many local pharmacists say they're still waiting for instruction from state officials.
I've received no information as to what our role may be and when, in some sort of time frame.
Public health officials say all this confusion could have been avoided with more clarity, funding, and support from the government, warning the slow distribution could cost lives. Jackie Ibanez, Fox News.
All right, when we come back, going to get the rundown of some entertainment coming your way this week on Fox. Several hit series return while the dancing, cooking, and guessing games continue on the Fox TV lineup this week. Here's Fox's Ashley Dvorkin.
New seasons premiere and new competitions heat up. Here's what's hot on Fox.
911, what's your emergency?
Monday, catch up on 911 and 911 Lone Star before those series return.
I promise you'll never lose me.
Tuesday, Fox's medical drama The Resident starts season 4 at Conrad and Nick's wedding, while also flashing back to Chastain Hospital during the early days of COVID-19.
Malcolm?
Then Prodigal Son kicks off its sophomore season after a twist left Malcolm with questions about his sister, a secret from his mother, and as he returns to a new case, another reunion with his serial killer father.
Oh!
Wednesday, it's the Group B finals on The Masked Dancer, which means more moves, clues, and guesses. Then it's the guessing game Name That Tune with contestants vying for cash and prizes.
Let's go!
Thursday, the Hell's Kitchen Season 19 competition continues with chefs taking on their first individual challenge.
How y'all doing tonight?
That's followed by back-to-back comedies starting with Call Me Kat, led by Mayim Bialik.
Good morning, handsome.
And more laughs courtesy of Last Man Standing. The week rounds out with WWE Friday Night SmackDown. And Monday, January 18th is when 911 and 911 Lone Star return with brand new episodes. Ashley Dvorkin, Fox News.
That's our time for tonight. Thanks so much for joining us. Going to leave you with video of a hippo in an Indian zoo celebrating his second birthday with his mother. Terrible twos. Good luck, Mama. Good luck. Hey, be safe. Do this all again tomorrow. See you then.